Jason's,
and they will be coming in. We'll look for them as they come in.
Meeting is being
Rochele, der Rabbonim seien da. Ich bin so groß wie zwei.
Rabbi
Rabbi Weinberg. Shalom Aleichem.
Bruchim Habaim. Oh, welcome,
Welcome, Gail.
Guten Erev Shabbos.
Rabbi Weinberg hat einmal Philipp und Veronika gesagt Klolles. Sagte, ob ich gleich nicht Klolles. I much prefer Broches.
Especially to get them.
Ja. Zu bekommen Broches.
Bakumen Broches ist besser wie
Ja, ist besser.
Weißt du, was heißt der East von Sydney? In Yiddish sagt man Mizrachwand. Weißt du Wort Mizrachwand? You love the Mizrachwand.
Ja.
Okay, everybody, it's just after 10. Welcome, Rabbi Weinberg, and all our special guests this morning. It really is an amazing, amazing morning. We've got 72 people on. Shane, a warm welcome to you in the middle of the night from the United States. I see we've got people from Australia, all over Europe, and of course our regulars who are here every single week. It's truly wonderful to see everybody here. And it's testimony to 14 years of Azey. So I think that I'd like to congratulate all the teachers who've been on for the whole time that we've been doing Azey, and it's really sad that we're not in person doing it at our house at 3 Bellevue Road, but seeing everybody on this morning is really fantastic. Special warm welcome to Jack sitting up in Joburg. Great to have you with us, because Jack, you were behind us right from the beginning as well. I think let's begin. So where's the first slide?
Who has the slides?
I think Monique.
Somebody's got a share screen.
Monique is going to do so. Enjoy the everybody.
But while we're waiting for the screen to go up, I can still start talking and save some time. So, welcome to Azey and welcome to Yiddishland. But let's start off right at the very beginning. This is really all Jack's fault, Jack Schmuckler. Remember, Jack, when in 2000 and something, you were busy having Yiddish classes in Cape Town, and we were having the Yiddish Song Festival that started in 2001. The Yiddish Song Festival came about because I love Yiddish song, but I can't sing. I love Yiddish, but I can't speak Yiddish properly. So I always have to admit that I can't sing and I don't really speak Yiddish well, but I was responsible for the Yiddish Song Festival. But it could never have happened, the Yiddish Song Festival, without Faye Singer. And I hope that Faye and Aviva Singer are with us today as well, that I can acknowledge her for what she did in that particular direction. And because Faye was associated with the Jewish Music Institute in the United Kingdom, which is part of London University, they have a program called Azey. And I said, no, we're not for Lux, we are from Lichtbach. So we're going to call it Azey. And that came into being. The Azey program is a far more structured program. In fact, Aaron Gersh has attended many times. Aaron, are you around? We can switch you on and even tell us a little bit about your association, because I know that you attended quite regularly. And you can tell us that, of course, in Cape Town, it's a lot better. Aaron, are you there? Can we find you?
I'm here.
Hello, Aaron. Would you like to tell us a little bit about Azey in London?
Yeah, I'll try and give you some quick highlights. I mean, one thing to point out is a very good friend of Faye Singer's was Geraldine Auerbach. Correct. Geraldine, we need to be very proud of the fact that the whole Yiddish movement for both Azey and the Kleshfest was powered by somebody like Geraldine Auerbach and her family. She started in 1994 already to produce concerts there, and in 2000 she got an MBE from the Queen for the something like the encouragement of a culture. And just by the way, we did land up in the Houses of Parliament once singing a few Yiddish songs there at 1 year, because one of the MPs was Jewish, and so there was a whole thing dedicated to Yiddish in the houses. So that was amazing. what happened was in the years after 2000, there was a week of Klesfest and a week of Azey. So I actually started because I don't play a musical instrument, but I like singing in choir. So I actually went to because I couldn't afford both, I went to the Klesfest more than to the Hebrew language thing for the first few years before I decided, now I need to learn Yiddish better, because in the master classes where you sang, solo, they said to you, they made sure that you talk Yiddish very, very properly, and these guys know their Yiddish. So in those Klesfest, in those early days, we'd have the guys like from the bands Brave Old World and the Klezmatics. There were a lot of the teachers there, which was a privilege. People like Michael Albert, Alan Byrne, Lawrence Schlamberg, Frank London, etc., etc. And yeah, but anyway, eventually I joined Azey, and there were four. I joined the Yiddish class. There were 4 levels of that. The first level, we literally learned the alphabet, and I think one of the revelations for me, that I always thought it was so difficult to understand Yiddish, to read Yiddish in with the Hebrew oitiot, the letters. And I discovered that Yiddish is written phonetically, and that was actually something I didn't know. And then you start when you learn the letters and you start reading, you actually realize it's actually quite easy to pick it up. So I'll just give you a few more ideas of, in the Azey, there were things like old movies. We watched old movies. We had Anna Zelniker, come and the daughter of what was his name?
Maya Zelniker.
Maya Zelniker.
Maya Zelniker.
She came and read her poem Hessel Street, which was about Hessel Street Market, and she wrote in Yiddish. Came and read that to us. So it was a privilege to meet her. We had poets come and read their poetry, like Bruria Vichand and Adrian Cooper, who died a few years ago. She was an amazing poet and singer. And so we did skits and things like that, and there was always performances at the end of the period.
Harold, what I'm going to say to you, sorry to interrupt a little bit, but there are going to be a lot of little mices today, but what it emphasizes to me is the value of people who can contribute to make things happen. And it was very fascinating, because when I heard about Azey, I said to Jack, and we had already gone through some years of the Yiddish Song Festival, and he was doing the classes, why don't we have Azey here? And I will never forget Jack's response. He said, "Verwemmen." And all I can tell you is, I did say to him, I don't know, so let's try. And now it's in our 14th year. In fact, we thought it had been going on a lot longer. I thought, in fact, we'd started earlier, but in fact, we did start in 2008. And we've got some of the original teachers here, which was Jack, and which is Rochel, who was here as well. And I was hoping that Tamara Alswang would be tuning in as well today, but she hasn't. Those were part of the original team. And the other part of the original team was the late Clara Gesholowitz. And it was only through her that I got into the intermediate group. Because when I said to her, I really should be in the beginner's class, she said, out of respect for your mother, she said, you're going into the intermediate. So that's what's called protectia. Yeah. Anyway, those were the days. And in fact, I think the only one, Linda Kravitz, I think you were amongst in the early classes. Were you there?
Welcome, Rabbi Darren, please.
Okay.
Love to have you with us, Rabbi.
Yeah. Hello, good to see you too. Anyway, I see that Faye has joined us. I see Aviva is on. Welcome, Faye. It's very, very special to have you. Because as I said, if it hadn't been for you and the fact that you're working on Jewish music, there wouldn't have been a Yiddish Song Festival in Cape Town. So a very, very big welcome.
Hi, Philip. Faye's just laughing here. She can't speak, everybody. But she,
okay, but I just want you to know, it's so special.
Yes, she's laughing to herself because I think she's recognizing some things and she knows we're talking about her. So that's the main.
And when she stays on, she'll see some of the songs we're going to be using today are the songs from the last time we did the Yiddish Song Festival, which we did in Johannesburg. And there we called it Ort Azey because Ort was celebrating its 75th birthday. Faye, it means so much to have you here. And Aviva, thanks for arranging that.
Okay,
So
I'll
that was
try
some
to
of the
keep-
background. I mean, as I said, without Yiddish Song Festival, I wouldn't have known about Azey in London, and I wouldn't have suggested to Jack. So I take full responsibility and for the wonderful things that happened as a result of that. So we had these Yiddish classes that were for the Yiddishists, which Clara did. Rochel did the intermediate group, and originally Tamar Alswang did the beginners class, and then Jason Toey took over that, and I hope Jason is with us as well today. And then we always had wonderful people coming to talk. So it's lovely to see you, Rabbi Weinberg, and you can tell us maybe one or two of the callers that you remembered in that particular class that you did for us that one year. Are you there, Rabbi Weinberg? Do you need to unmute yourself?
Unmute.
Good morning, Alderman. And
Good morning, sir.
Es ist ein großes Vergnügen zu sein mit euch und zu sprechen und reden ein bisschen zusammen auf Jiddisch. Die Klolles will ich nicht geben, Chas v'Sholem. Aber ich wundere sich, als man Azam Mazel hat man gehabt, am Freitag, dem 13. Freitag, dem 13. ist ein Bruch, nein?
Nicht in Jiddisch.
Freitag, dem 13. Will ich euch sagen, als in Jiddischkeit, the number 13 is a gewaltige number. Es hat zu tun mit Bar Mitzvah, es hat zu tun mit gute Sachen, mit Yud Gimel, mit der 13 ist Midas Harachamim, die Fühlungen von Rachamim, von Geben und von Liebhaben. Und ich will euch nur wünschen, als ihr sollt gehen mit Chayes und mit Größkeit, mit Chayel und Chayel. Ihr sollt wachsen, ihr sollt weiter lernen, weiter reden, weiter kommen zusammen. Ich trachte jetzt wegen Label Mofsowitz, Leon Mofsowitz, was ist gewesen, ein größer Stützer von den Jiddisch-Klassen, was Nebach der Ewigkeit war weggenommen zu sich. Und ich wünsche Yunus und der ganze Mischpacha, Arichas Yomim. Und wir soll gedenken, dass der Sprache ist Jiddisch. Jiddisch meint Jiddisch. Man darf sein Jiddisch. Man darf leben Jiddisch. Wir kommen jetzt zu Rosh Hashanah. So wir alle haben ein gut gebenchte Jahr in alle gute Sachen. Wir sollen können zusammenkommen auf freiliche Sachen. So no klolles today, nor brachas.
Ashenim Dank for that. I'm so pleased you mentioned Leon, and I'm hoping that Eunice is with us today. Because if she is, I'd love her to say a few words to us, because it was always special having you both at our Yiddish classes on a Friday morning. Hello, Eunice, and obviously from all of us, our wishes and thoughts are with you. Would you like to say a word or two?
Eunice?
Where are you?
Eunice is here. I've seen her.
Okay. If you unmute yourself, Eunice, we'd love to hear your voice.
Morning,
Okay.
everybody. I'm very, very heart-torn, very broken this morning, thinking of Leon's normally sitting next to me, loving every word, enjoying it, learning. It's just very, very hard. Thank you, everybody, for wishing us well. Thank you.
Eunice, thank you so much for being with us. It means a lot to us to have you here, and very, very special memories, which we'll always have. So thank you, and thank you. By the way, talking about all the Yiddish classes that originated, I must also mention that in the southern suburbs, Rita Wagenheim has regular classes at CJSA, and in Milnerton, Joe Berelovitz used to run, the late Joe Berelovitz, unfortunately not here with us anymore, but was running the classes. Now I'm very, very hopeful that when we start classes again, that Hajira, you will be able to run the classes. Because now she's in the beginner's class, but I'm sure by then we'll have you coming aboard. Sybil, is she a good student?
Very good indeed.
There you go. So Hajira, there's hope for you. And a big hug from all of us to you as well.
Thank you.
And then, you know, there's what was also very interesting, but you know, before we start talking about ourselves, we have a special guest, and one of them being Shane. I'd love to have him come aboard because I think he might want to last the whole time. It's, as I say, it's 4:15 in the morning for him. So maybe if we welcome him, and Shane, is there something you want to say to us or talk to us about? I must tell you, I made a terrible blunder. I told him originally it was our 19th birthday because we thought we'd start earlier, but we are younger than we thought. So anyway, Shane, if you are there still, and if you'd like to say hello to us, please unmute.
Ich kann euch sagen, als in 5 Jahren bin ich gerät euch zu der langen Rede. Oi, ihr werdet nicht glauben. Aber jetzt kann ich bloß sagen, als 14, was ist die größte Geduld mit 14? Was heißt 14? Aber ich habe Tracht getan, 14. 14 ist doch bei Gematria Zahav. If you use Jewish numerology, it's Zahav, gold.
Oh,
Ah.
Gold. Yeah, I won't say it's your golden anniversary, but you are all gold. And it's beautiful how you come together and study Yiddish and enjoy in Shapnachis von der jiddischer Kultur. Dazu ist bei Gematria 14 die, genug, Dalet Yud. Ja, 14 ist aber nicht genug. Darf man überdrehen die Oasis? You have to turn the letters around and make Yad, the hand of friendship that you give to each other with Yiddish, but also the hand that is open and asks for more. So sein noch 14 Jahre, wird ihr haben ein Yedid, a Freund. Yes, all of you friends will stick together and you'll have many more golden years with Yiddish. In Azey soll man vorausgehen. Dank.
a Sheinem
Schönen
Dank.
Dank.
And you know, Shane, von dein Moil, we now have 92 people have logged in. And when we did do Otazay, we could only accommodate 36 people at the seniors in Sea Point. And some had got to 37, 38, and we were cramming them in. So isn't it wonderful that when we go virtual, you can still have so many people. And although it's virtual, nonetheless, for real is the birthday cake. And if you want to count, there are 14 candles on a cheesecake. Anyway, it's very special having everybody here. And the other guest that we have with us is Rabbi Darren. Rabbi Darren, would you like to say anything? We'd love to have some words from you.
Is erstens will ich sagen zu alle zusammengeklebene gute Freund am Mazel Tov für die 14. Ich weiß nicht, sie ruft das a Geburtstag oder an Anniversary, aber es ist von mir a große Covid zu sein mit euch alle da. Philipp hat erst der Mann, als es ist sehr schön, als jetzt, was wir seinen Virtual kommen haben, als sehr viel mehr Menschen zusammen mit uns. Es will ich euch und uns alle Menschen als zum nächsten Jahr soll man kennen haben über 100 Menschen, aber einer zum zweiten, zusammen in demselben Zimmer, nicht virtual. Gesundheit und Freilichkeit. Und ich will euch alle wünschen, ein gut gebenchtes Jahr. Rabbi Weinberg hat erst der Mann, als 13 ist eine starke Nummer in der Kultur von Jiddischkeit und von Jidden, weil 13, wir wissen, dass das ist dem Gematria von Echad und es ist die Gimel Midas Harachamim. Ist jetzt stehen die ein paar Wochen vor Rosh Hashanah. Die Welt zittert. Wir kommen an zu dem größten Tag. Ist der alte Rebbe in dem weltbewussten Sefer Lekutei Torah sagt, also das ist nicht die Zeit, was mir zittert. Das ist die Zeit, was mir gedenken, dem Liebschaft, dem Kiruv, dem Arumnehmenisch von dem Ebersten, aber gibt auf dem einen interessanten Moschel. Sagt, dass in dem Chodesh vor Rosh Hashanah jetzt ist der Melech Basade, der König ist in der Feld. Und jeder einer kann zugehen. mit seinen Bakasches, mit seinen Willungen. Und alles, was darf, kann ausbetten. In die paar Wochen vor der Shoshana und ausbetten ein gut gebenchte Jahr. Was ist die Problem? Einmal, wisst doch, zum Eltern, man fällt schlafen. Man vergesst. Jetzt habe ich mitgebracht zu dem heutigen Festival, habe ich gebracht meine Alarmclock. Kann das sein? Und der Rambam sagt, für was hat man das? Also das ist unsere Alarmclock, zu uns aufwecken von dem schlafendicke Gedanke, als keiner guckt nicht auf mir, was ich tue, art nicht zum keinem. Das weckt uns auf zu gedenken, als der Melech Malche am Lachen, der König von allen Königs, guckt auf mir und auf dir und auf jede Sache, was ich tracht und auf jeder Wort, was ich sage. Und jede Sache, was ich tue, sagt der Eibischter, das ist von mir wert, dem ganzen Welt, und das kann überkehren in die Welt und bringen Yeshua, was hat Zolle vor allem. Das werde ich jetzt blasen dem Schäfer, es ist Tage nicht einer, hoffentlich wird jeder einer kann sein in Schule auf Rosh Hashanah, zu Herren dem Schäfer bei MS, aber nur zu gedenken, weil ich das blasen, jetzt für 1 Sekunde.
Scheinem Dank.
Ein gut gebenchten Jahr.
Thank you.
Grace
Thank you. Scheinem Dank to you. And thank you again to all our guests. Now that we had some music, I hope that Ivor Joffe is here as well, has joined us, because Ivor was after the year one, he was in all our Yiddish song festivals. And the most beautiful thing that I always remember is Ivor is in charge of music at Herzliya schools. And together with him and Sandy Siegel, a lot of the learners at Herzliya were involved in the Yiddish Song Festival. And I think the most amazing thing to me is at the annual Eistedford, there's a section for, what is it called? Home music or
folk music.
Folk music. Sorry, thank you, Ivan, for correcting me. And for several years, Yiddish was sung at the Cape Town Eistedford, and Ivor students were getting gold medals for singing in Yiddish. So I think that's very, very special to me. And we've got Dave here with us. Dave, as the singer, we're going to get you involved in doing some of the lyrics with us later, but it's always special having you aboard as well as part of this team. Now, on the your program, it said that we're going to you'd get a whole list of where people came from. And suddenly when we were going to do this, we thought, oi, gewalt, there's this new thing called the Poppy Act. Maybe we aren't allowed to do that without first asking permission. So we did not include that in your package. If anybody has a problem, does not want, or I think we'll just send through a letter. Please do put my details out there. I don't mind. And then we'll send it to everybody afterwards. But once we've got some of you here, I'd like to ask that, for instance, I know that Adele Sabin is there, and she's a landsman of mine. Sie kommt von Weinberg. So Adele, if you're there, I'd love you to say something about where you come from and what you gained from joining Sybil's class. Are you there?
I'm here. Hello, I'm here.
Hi, Adele.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Guten Morgen, mein guter Freund. Ich bin Adele Sabin. Ich wohne in der Dere in Fresno. Wenn ich bin gewesen ein junger Mädel, habe ich gewohnt in einem Haus in Weinberg, Plumstead. Mein Mischpocher, Silberwitz, und Philipps Mischpocher, Todris, seinen Gewinn Freunde. Sie seinem Gewinn ein bewusster, feiner Mischpocher. Ich gedenk Philipps Mutter, Leah Todris, sehr gut. Ich habe lieb gehabt, zu kaufen Kleider für mein Jüngerlich in sehr wunderlicher Krumm, die Boutique.
Okay, Adele, we're not going to let you go further. That's such how little time we've got. So after I got the compliments, let's leave it there before you come up with the horribles.
Alright, ich
I'm
hab
sure
lieber
there has to be
mein
some of
Jiddisch
those.
Klassen mit die ausgezeichnete Lehrer Sybil Castle.
Okay, thank you so much, Adele.
And I
You know,
couldn't do
starting
a
to
word
see-
of Yiddish before this.
Okay, you see how well she's done, so thank you,
Philip.
Sybil. Yes.
Philip, I'm sorry to interrupt. I need to go at 10:30. So if you don't mind, I'd just like to say one small thing.
Yes.
And that is, I'd like to say, first of all, Shalom Aleichem and good Shabbos to everyone. And just to say that if it wasn't for the Yiddish Song Festival, and if it wasn't for Faye Singer and the team, I know that Faye is here today, and I just want to acknowledge Faye and pay tribute to Faye and say that, you know, if it wasn't for Faye Singer and the Yiddish Song Festival, I would not be able to sing all the songs that I do in Yiddish, which I share with all of you. So I want to say a very, very big Sheinem Dank to Faye, Faygela, and to Philip, and to the whole team who are here today, who have facilitated not only me, but so many young performers and children and adults to sing and keep Yiddish alive in Cape Town. So thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the day and enjoy the music videos, and good Shabbos to you all, and a good Yontef.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you will be seeing Iva and the team that made it all possible. It really was special being able to work with you guys. And you'll see some of the results when we do the songs later. Folks, it's almost 10:30. I was going to ask a lot of other people to talk, but maybe we'll call them in later to talk about where they're from. I mean, Regina, I'd love to hear about your new things that are happening in and this whole revival of Yiddish, which I think is so special and important.
Veronica, unmute yourself. Veronica.
Wanted to remind you about Batya Gliza, because she has a special story because her parents were survivors of the Holocaust.
Batya, we'd love to hear you, please.
Yeah.
And then we will also
Batya.
ask a lot of other people afterwards too. Batya, where are you?
Batya, she's
I'm
unmute
here.
yourself. Yeah.
I can see you now.
Yeah. If you can tell us
Sheinem
quickly
Hut,
that
Sheinem Hut, Batya.
I dank Veronica and Philip. Ich will probieren ein bisschen in Jiddisch reden. Ich verstehe es auch, nur mein Sprache ist nicht so gut. Mein Eltern, mein Tata hat in von Wilna gekommen und meine Mama von Kleinstädtel in Polen, Dubno. Sie haben die Shoah durchgebracht in Europa. Ich habe geboren in Israel und uns hat gekommen dort, die Familie gekommen dort, mein Tatas Bruder hat da gewohnt. Und meine Eltern hat Jiddisch mit mir geredet, die ganze Zeit. Jiddisch ist gewesen, uns Mama loschen daheim. Und ich habe Jiddisch als Sach lieb gehabt. Ich will sagen, ein großer Dank to the learners. Ich habe sehr lieb die Kitan, wie man da gesagt hat, ich habe Asach Jiddisch gelernt, nur nicht nur die jiddische Safar. Ich habe die Kultur gelernt, für die jiddische Theater, jiddische Literatur, Die klas is a sach größer von Rock die zu reden. Okay, a größer Dank.
A shame Dank. And now if we could do a screen share, we're going to show you what the program is for the rest of the time. Thank you to Veronica, to Sybil, and to Rochela for getting it all together, because here the hard work starts. You're going to have to really pay attention, but for a good cause. So who is doing screen share? There we go. Do you know where we start? We're going to start with what Jason always did, a Glas Tee.
Guten Morgen. Heint will mir euch weisen, wie es zu machen, a Gläsel Tee. Da haben wir a Gläsel, a Spodek, a Löffel, Varenje oder Eingemachts, a Krug mit heißer Tee rein, 2 Stickel Zucker, a Zitrin und ein Ingwerkuchen. Und zum Ersten muss man gießen die Tee, Azey. Man legt da rein ein bisschen Varenje, zu machen das süß. Man rührt es. Dann man nimmt das Stückchen Zucker zwischen die Zähne und man trinkt die Tee, Azey. Sehr Geschmack. Und dann man nimmt das Stückchen Ingwerkuchen und man isst das mit unserem Tee. Dank. Sei gesund.
That is the Yiddish tea drinking ceremony. Now, when we start, we'll show you the vocabulary. Can we now go back to the PowerPoint, please? And we want to have, we'll just quickly run through the first few slides, which you don't need anymore. Doesn't matter. We'll just show everybody what we've done. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. So we'll just show everybody what they haven't missed. So that was your welcome. Then the next slide, which says your check-in opens, and we gave you a little bit of vocabulary there. A shuch, a shoe, a zok, a sock, a kleid on lattes. Does anyone know where that comes from? Abi gesund, from that song. And our hood, and maybe a fancy hat, thank you, Sybil. And then our welcome. So now let's go on to the vocabulary. And would I think Sybil or, sorry, Veronica, would you take over from here?
Aren't we going to sing our Geburtstag first? Zu dein Geburtstag.
No, we just thought we'd sing. We've had Jason do his Glas Tee. I don't think it's necessary. This is in your notes, so I don't think we need to go through it. And that this is now, should we do this one or should we do this? I think the song is the next one. The Geburtstag is the next one.
Yes, Sudan.
So this is, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so over to you now.
Veronica, you're muted. We kennen it hören. You're talking to yourself.
Hilda, is Hilda here?
Hello.
Okay, Hilda, willst du reden für uns, unser
I hope I
Geburtstag?
read it correctly.
Okay.
Zu dein Geburtstag, zu dein Yom Tov heint, haben sich versammelt deine gute Freund. Jeder wünscht dir zu getreuer Reit, wie viel Naches und Freit. Vivat, du liebes Kind, vivat, wir wünschen dir gesund. Vivat.
Okay. And auf Englisch, Hilda, sagt er so gut?
For your birthday, for your special day today, we have gathered here your good friends. Everyone wishes you very sincerely so much pleasure and joy. Viva to you, dear child. Viva, we wish you health. Viva.
Right, now the song.
Now the actual song. You just have to click on it.
You're on mute, Veronica. Veronica, there you go.
Yes, I've unmuted myself. Thanks. Okay. Da haben wir haben a Meise von unser Mechaber Hirsch Schissler. We've got a story here by Hirsch Schissler. Hat geschrieben a Sach. Ich habe gezählt 500 Meises, 500 Stories von Hirsch Schissler. Ist gekommen in Durham, Afrika in 1933, 1933, und kommt von Chelm in Polen. Okay, und da ist schon gewesen ein Journalist und euch a sharer. A sharer is a barber. Und hat geschrieben a Meister als beide a Journalist und beide a sharer seinen Kopfarbeit. In other words, they both work that you do with your head, zu schreiben und zu sharen. Okay. Und der Name von unserem Meister ist Gepravet sein Geburtstag. Celebrated his birthday. And es ist von einer Sammlung, it's from a collection, mit a Schmeichel auf der Erde, with a smile in the world. Next screen. Okay, da haben wir unser Wörterorte, our vocabulary. Und wo ist Rochela?
Ich bin da.
Okay, kannst du anheben für uns?
Yeah, can it be a bit clearer? I've got it printed, but maybe some people are just going to read off. I don't know if it can be any clearer. Can everybody see it? But it macht nicht aus. And I'll just read.
Clear.
Okay. So we've done this especially because Gott sei Dank, wir haben Sibylles Klasse da. Das ist wunderbar, als wir sind alle zusammen. Und dafür haben wir gemacht ein bisschen mehr von der Wörterorte und ich hoffe, Sie werden alles verstehen. Sorgen, to worry. Zu gedenken, to remember. Bleiben, ich bleib, geblieben, to remain. And ruhen, to rest. Sich abzuruhen, to rest or relax. Wünschen, mehr wünschen, to wish. And klingen, geklungen, to ring or rang, it rang. And gebeten, beten is to ask, ich betach, laufen, mir laufen, to run, gehen, bin gegangen, to go, tun, to do, schreien, geschreien, to shout, shouted, darfen, gedarft, to have had to, wir dürfen lernen Yiddish, we have to learn Yiddish, but zollen, to pay. And then the verbs with the prefixes, ausgerät. Hat sich ausgerät sein Herz. Very good word. Poured out. Eusen, sie seht euch, eusen, sie seht euch as I find, to appear, to look, as I shame. Ich habe angeklungen. To phone. It gets a different sort of connotation, meaning, and herausfahren, to go out, to travel, and abgestellt. The Otto hat sich abgestellt, it refused to go, and to prepare, zugreiten. And then Veronica, willst du lernen the nouns, oder soll ich angehen? You can read some nouns.
Angehen.
Okay, the masculine, die feminine, and die, usually it's die feminine, and die is the plural for like der Mann, die Männer. And then das is usually a noun, or a neutral noun, Das Tisch. Der Friseur, der Hairdresser, ich bin gegangen nachten, sich ausputzen. Die Schneiderin, the tailor, the Schneider is the male, Schneiderin, tailoress, the dressmaker. Der Frühstück, breakfast. We've given it a male connotation. Der Platz, die Plätze, places. Der Eidem, son-in-law. Der Cheshbon, man macht der Cheshbon, we make a Rekening, the bill. And die Show, the hour. And dann haben wir prepositions.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Sorry?
Next slide. We're waiting for the next, it's on the next slide.
Azey.
Yeah. We've actually got, okay.
Adjectives.
So ich will umgehen. Okay, so wir haben adjectives wie spät, spät oder später, late oder later, und wichtig, alles ist wichtig, everything is important, und free. Als wir haben spät is late und free oder früher is early. Okay, spät und free is the Hippoch, the opposite of spät. And then we have etliche. Etliche are several. We have, we can eigentlich sagen einige. Wir haben viel, das ist a lot. Und hungrig. Hungrig is wie English, hungry. Und nachdem wir haben adverbs. Adverbs describe a verb. Wir haben zurück, it's to come back. Kimat, das ist Hebräisch, almost. Endlich is finally. Und plötzlich, das ist für mich ist das ein schönes Wort. Plötzlich, suddenly. It's yeah. Then we have derweil, derweile, in the meantime, and efsher is possibly. Ergets is somewhere. Ergets wo is somewhere. Zusammen, zusammen is together, wir seien heint, allemen zusammen. Und befrat is especially. Und willst du would you want to end off, Rochala?
Yes, prepositions, I don't know where those are. Yeah, zu lieb, because of. Zu lieb dem, haben wir heint a Geburtstag, zu lieb dem. Arriba, over, and arriba dem Yam, to over here and over there. Welchen is which. And then expressions, auf dem Weg, wo bist du? Ich bin auf dem Weg. And was tust du? What are you doing? And Alpha-Zeiger. And was heißt? What do you mean? Und gehackte Wunden. Open wounds. It's almost as bad as gehackte Zorres.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. The next page, the next screen, please.
Story is quite funny.
Okay. And wir bitten Linda. Linda, wo bist du? Linda. Linda Kravitz.
I'm here.
Okay, because we need you for the when it's in for the mother and the daughter, etc., etc. Okay, you promised.
And Lena,
what's in it for me?
A companion for your papagei.
Okay.
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 Veronica, hi. What do I read?
You can read, I think, the mother, and Linda can do the daughters.
But this is, have we got the same?
We'll tell you.
Okay.
Don't worry. We will warn you. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Don't worry. It's not a lot. Okay. A Yid hat sich bei mir ausgeregt sein Herz. Okay. So this Jew, he poured out his heart. Ich will, ihr sollt wissen, you should only know, wenn man wird alt, is nicht gut, is nicht gut. Wenn man wird alt, is nicht gut. Aber wenn es kommt mein Geburtstag, sorgen die Kinder meiner zu machen dem alten Taten happy. Okay, hat alle verstanden?
Yes. Ja.
Okay, okay. Ich gedenk, I remember, noch wie mit ein Jahr oder zwei zurück hat mein Freund mir gesagt, als ich muss nicht gehen zu der Arbeit auf meinen Geburtstag, mustn't go to work, ich muss bleiben in der Heim und ruhen. Okay, so you mustn't go to work on your birthday, you must stay at home and relax.
And relax.
Okay. Ein bisschen später ist mein Freund gegangen, zu der Frisierer, the hairdresser, und zu der Schneiderin. So she went to the hairdresser and the dressmaker. Für was? Why? Es ist mein Geburtstag. Und sie darf euch sehen schön. So because it's his birthday, she must look good. Okay. Ich bin geblieben allein in Haus. Meine ältere Tochter hat angeklungen. She phoned me zu wünschen mir einen glücklichen Geburtstag. Und mir gefragt, Linda?
Was tust du, Tata?
Okay, next page. Gar nicht, Kind meins. Ich sitze in Haus und warte auf der Mammen. Sie ist beim Hairdresser. Linda?
Was heißt, du sitzt allein in Haus in einem so wichtigen Tag in deinem Leben? Ich komme schon rüber und wir wollen ein bisschen herausfahren.
Okay. Meine Tochter ist gekommen in ihr Auto und mir gesagt. Okay, Linda?
Ja. Oh, Tata, ich will dir herausfahren. Oder früher, ich darf gehen zu meinem Dentist für ein Check-up.
Okay.
Soll ich leinen?
I want gern, Rochela.
Bin ich geblieben sitzen in Kar bis 11 Uhr. Und ich habe noch nicht gehabt kein Frühstück. Das ist ein Unglück. Zu lieb die Simcha hat mein Freund vergessen mir zu geben Frühstück. Noch ein Show warte ich in Kar, bis meine Tochter ist gekommen.
Linda?
I'm sorry, Daddy, der Dentist hat gehabt viel Patienten. Willst du ergens reingehen zu trinken ein Gläsel Tee? Well, not you, Veronica.
Rochela?
Wie du willst, habe ich geantwortet.
Okay, next screen. Linda?
Ja, nein, wir wollen besser gehen heim und etwas essen.
Auf dem Weg hat meine Tochter sich abgestellt bei älteren etlichen Plätzen. In einem Platz ist sie rein zu ihrer Freundin verkümmert, nearly a show. Endlich sind wir gekommen heim. Meine Tochter hat mir gebeten, setzen Sie sich weg in die Kirche und sie wird zugreifen, etwas zu essen. Should somebody else try and read? Or should we go on? Philip,
Lena,
what is Lena?
Lena, would you like to willst du probieren? Plötzlich.
She's muted.
Okay. Plötzlich.
No, I'm muted. Plötzlich hat der Glechel geklungen und eine Gruppe Mädchen in Sportkleider sahen rein in den Stub. Meine Tochter kommt zu mit uns so. Excuse me, Daddy.
It's Linda. It's
Okay.
Linda.
Sorry.
Excuse me, Daddy. Ich muss laufen.
Sie gibt mir einen Kuss, Happy Birthday, und sie ist weg.
Okay,
Sorry.
Rochela?
Ich bin gesessen mit gehackten Wunden, Open Wounds, und ich bin gegangen nach Heim a Hungriker. Hat mein Weib mir gefragt. Right, where's the Weib?
Lena?
Ja.
Lena,
Wo
you're the
bist du
Weib.
gewesen den ganzen Tag? Hast du gegessen? Noch nicht. That's yours. Hab ich geantwortet.
Adank, Lena. Okay. 15.
Philip,
okay.
Who else? David?
Dave, willst du ein bisschen lernen bei uns?
Derweil hat meine junge Tochter mit geklungen, zu wünschen mir einen glücklichen Geburtstag.
Linda?
Daddy, hat sie geschrien. Ich hab gewollt kommen zu dir, oder mein Arnold liegt im Bett nicht kalt. Efter kannst du kommen bei mir und sitzen mit dem Kind und ich will gehen tun mein Shopping.
Ja, Dave, carry on.
Dank. Efter ein andermal habe ich geantwortet. Mein Weib hat mir gesagt, trink ein Glas Tee mit einem Biskuit.
Actually, Lena,
sorry,
you're the vibe.
Oh, sorry.
Ja. Lena?
Trink ein Glas Tee mit einem Biskuit. Ich hab heint gar nicht gekocht. Wir gehen doch heint raus für Dinner mit den Kindern.
Okay. Rochelle, willst du lernen?
In Abend haben wir gesessen zusammen im Hotel. Mein Freund, Töchter und Adams, the son-in-laws, haben mir gewünscht und gekuscht. Aber ich allein habe nicht gefühlt, dass sei freilich. Befragt, especially, wenn man hat mir gegeben, der Cheshbon für Dinner. Welchen ich habe gedacht bezahlen.
Das ist der ganze Meister.
Und echt mehr ein Geburtstag. Hey.
Okay, so now, jetzt haben wir Lieder.
Should I do my thing first? My little...
Oh, yes, sorry. Okay, yeah.
If you don't mind, thank you.
No. Ich habe vergessen.
I love what Jack hat gesagt. Jack Schmuttler hat angeheben. I'm going to bring in quite a few English here because le COVID unsere andere Klasse. Jack hat angeheben, hat gesagt, Geld ist nicht alles, aber zu alles darf man haben Geld. That was Jack's opening words, Heint. Okay, I've said this before. It's a Sprichwort and it says, man will sich älteren, aber man will nicht sein alt. Everyone wants to grow older, but nobody wants to be old. I was told to look for birthday, Witzen, or words of wit and wisdom. You can only say it in Mama Loschen, but we'll try. So it says, wenn ich bin gewinn jung, bin ich gewinn stark wie ein Pferd. When I was young, I was as strong as a horse. Jetzt ist die Starkheit weg und der Pferd ist geblieben. He is no longer strong, but he's still a Pferd. So when I was young, I was strong as a horse. Now the strength has gone and the horse is left. Lebach. Good. Now, when I first came to Cape Town, we had a most wonderful evening at the Marais Road Shul. And it was, I think it was 2005, Sibylla, and I did a talk. And there are a few things that I'd like to bring up now. Because wir haben Zeit, and George Burns, the Yiddish comedian, hat einmal gesagt, people think all I have to do is stand up and tell a few jokes. Well, that's not as easy as it looks. Every year it becomes more of an effort to stand up. And it's so hard to be nostalgic when you can't remember anything.
Oi, a bittere Gelächter.
A bittere Gelächter. So, why is Yiddish called Mama Loschen? The Tata, because fathers rarely ever got a chance to speak when the mama was around. So, what did the men do? They studied, they prayed in Loshen Kodesh, and thus everyone was happy. But wir wissen, in the village where only one peasant knew how to read, you would hardly find one Jew who couldn't. No matter how common or uneducated a Jew was, hat allemal gekent leinen seine Tehillim. Und Veronica, Philip und alle was seinen da, I'm going to ask you, for was sollen wir lachen? Why should we laugh today? What's so important? A folk tale tells us that the Creator, Hashem, made man able to walk and to talk, to see and to hear, but Hashem still wasn't satisfied. And finally, he made man laugh. And when he laughed and he laughed, Hashem said, now you are fit to live. So that's why wir probieren lachen. Isn't our humor a mirror of our entire history? Our joys, our nachas, our yearning for a bissel tzedek, justice and shalom in the world. And when our tzoros gets really bad, we say, Oi, seinen mir auf gehackte tzoros. I'm not sure why troubles are worse when chopped up like a liver. I don't really know. But what I do know is that our laughter, unsere Gelächter, reflects above all else our willingness to poke fun at ourselves. And this is the Zelba, and I think Dave will agree, having been brought up in Windhoek, maybe zwischen an Afrikaner or Muriel Levine on the Platteland. Ethel Fugger said to me one day, I remember reading about it as well. He came to visit us at Wits, reserved his grave in the cemetery at New Bethesda in the Karoo. And he said, having reached the biblical 70 years and 10, I haven't got a lot of time left, you know. And therefore, before my knees give in, he went for a run, and he was running up the hill, and a group of black children were watching him. And as they ran past, one of them called out, Hou so aan, ou baas, jy kom eerste. Carry on.
Wie sagt das in Yiddish?
You are coming first. Hou so aan. And he said to me, those are the words I want on my matzeva, on my gravestone. So I'm going to just say that I want to end off, if we've got time. Hillel, the great scholar, said, to the place I love, my feet will always carry me. People instinctively find time to do those things which they love. So ich kann nur sagen, es ist ein Vernigen and a yontif für uns alle. And I know I speak on behalf of everybody. When ich vielleicht kommen in Cape Town, von mein kleiner Städtel im Schlangerocks, and I enjoy teaching our goldene Mama Loschen. And ich weiß that when all of you are listening to a bissel Yiddish, you will realize you understand more than what you thought you had forgotten, or even what you thought you never knew. Und eine Frau ist einmal gekommen zu einem Zahndoktor und hat gesagt, Doktor, meine Zähne tun mir weh. Sie ist alt gewesen, 70 Jahre. Sie ist gewesen ihr Geburtstag. It was her birthday. The doctor hat ihr besucht und untergesucht, and she said to him, don't worry, your teeth are really good for another 50 Jahre. Hat sie gesagt zu dem Zahndoktor, what will my teeth do without me?
Okay.
Philip.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank. Philip, Regine hasn't spoken.
I'd love to know, we have got a bit of time now, so that's wonderful. I'd love to hear from her. And also her comments about revival of Yiddish in Israel as well. She's just come from there. She might have something to say about that. Regine, we'd love to hear from you. That's Regine in Brussels. Are you there? Hello, Regine.
How was it, Jim?
And I see Roberta is here from Jerusalem. Welcome.
Wo ist Regine?
Regine, binst du da?
Shirley, wo ist deine Cousine von Brussels?
Regine, if you unmute yourself, you'll come up immediately. Regine, if you are there. Okay. Well,
I don't see her here.
Yeah. You can't see her? Okay, Stacy. Okay, well, she might have left already. Folks, then before we, Monique, was that you or Stacy? When we do the two songs, see, we have a little bit of...
Philip,
yes.
sorry, can Jaime sagen a paar Wörter? It's his cousin.
Absolutely.
Jaime, sag a paar Wörter in English, Jaime.
Or English.
Where I come from.
Von wann kommt ihr, Jaime?
With English or Yiddish?
No, in English, Jaime. Say it in English. Wir alle können verstehen.
Everyone keeps asking me, how come I'm not related to any of the captains? Well, the odds is here, this document, 15 pages. I'll read the English first and the Yiddish afterwards. My great-grandfather, Rabbi Yitzchak Koropatsky, lived in Kovna and had 7 children. In 1902, the children decided to emigrate, and 6 of them went to America and changed the name from Koropatsky to Kor. My grandfather, Sam Koropatsky, was the 7th of the siblings. And he came to Cape Town because his brother-in-law was already living here. But he came on his own because his wife was pregnant and unable to travel. The following year, his wife arrived in Cape Town with her son, but the authorities wouldn't allow her off the ship because she lost her papers. Fortunately, he had befriended a Dr. Kaplan on board who took her off as his wife and child. When my brother and Zayda went to the immigration department, they asked him, how come your surname is Koropatsky and your wife's surname is Kaplan? He said, okay. When I arrived in Cape Town, by mistake, I gave you my Yiddish surname, which is Koropatsky, instead of my English surname, which is Kaplan. So they duly changed the records to Kaplan, and so my father was born a Kaplan.
That's a beautiful story, Jaime.
Dank.
That's absolutely fabulous.
And Stan Liderman, please, Philip.
Sure. Where are you, Stan? A little nicer from you, Stan.
Well, thank you very much. It's wonderful for me to participate in this very, very special, on many, many levels. Just as a quick background, I grew up in Cape Town. I was schooled, I was universitied, I was everything that all the early stages. My mother was from Lithuania, and she also grew up in Cape Town. She grew up in Muizenberg. My father came when he was older, when he was about 20, also from Lithuania. Both of them spoke Yiddish at home. Of course, they were English speaking as well, but they spoke Yiddish. And so Yiddish for me was a very beautiful, nostalgic experience to listen to it. And they spoke with a profound and rich Yiddish. So it was something that amplified my experience when I listened to them. I didn't speak Yiddish. Yiddish was really the language they spoke when they were speaking together and excluding me, which wasn't so often, but nevertheless, I think that was an experience many people had. The parents spoke Yiddish when they didn't want the children to know.
Kinder must nicht wissen.
Yeah, but nevertheless, it permeated and percolated through me, and it's something that I find that I can understand a fair amount of Yiddish, even though I haven't had the practice of speaking it, and therefore it's difficult to speak. But it's not difficult for me to understand, and that's why it has such a profound impact on me. So it's very beautiful for me to be here, because it's wonderful to hear it, to listen to it, to share with everybody what you're doing. And just to say, what a wonderful time it is to have a birthday like this, how special it is, and how much I appreciate being part of this, and how much I appreciate everything that people are doing, especially what, Veronica is doing, and what Rachel is doing, and all the work that you put into this. It's very wonderful and very special to me. So I just want to thank you and wish you all a happy birthday, and partake of your virtual cake. And thank you very, very much. And the last point I'm going to make to you is that I am now in my second last class from here in Johannesburg, because I'm going to Be'ezras Hashem make Aliyah to Israel on the 24th of August, which doesn't mean I can't come back to this if I have the right connections, but it's a very special time for me. So just sharing that with you, and once again, thank you so much for everything.
Vorgesund and sei gesund, Stan, and thank you so much for that. And please stay in touch, even if you happen to be in Israel. Make sure all your friends and relations join us as well.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
Hilda has a little story she wants to tell about her father. Hilda, can you hold that just for a few minutes? Let's do the songs, and afterwards we've got a bit of time to do.
Okay.
Hilda,
Okay, so can
before
Yes.
you speak, I just spoke to Regine and she says she got cut off and she
Okay.
apologizes. She cannot reconnect. So she says she was enjoying it and she's very sorry that she can't get back to us.
Okay, if we'll try and reconnect her anyway, just if Stacy or Monique could see if she's trying to get back in again, maybe we weren't watching. Okay, we'll try. But in the meantime, can we? Yes.
Philip, can I ask Mr. Ledham a
Wait, sorry,
question?
just one person at a time. Who was that speaking?
Selwyn Furman.
Yes, Selwyn. But
Mr.
can we
Ledham.
we are going to have time to talk afterwards. We just like to do part of the lesson of the 2 songs. So can we do the 2 songs and then we'll come back to more schmoozing? Okay. So, just one second.
No, we need the words first.
Monique, first the words.
The words.
And then the song.
Yeah.
While you're getting that going, as I said, it's called Ort Azey because we're celebrating the 75th birthday of Ort. There you go. Lach mit mir.
Okay, lach mit mir. Okay. Wer will lernen, Vers für uns ist
It's
Mira
Mira
da.
here. Mira.
Mira?
Ich will reden. Es ist Rochele Reichlen.
Oh,
Kinderklein.
okay, okay. Seid ihr so gut?
Lacht mit mir. Freilich, freilich, nu freilich, jeden freilich. Als freilich is nicht zu bekennen. Freilich, freilich, nu freilich, jeden freilich. Wo wir singen, alle du in einen. Lach mit mir.
No. Englisch jetzt. Jetzt. Auf Englisch. Happy,
Happy,
happy.
happy, happy. Be happy, jeden. Nowhere else is there such happiness. Happy, happy. Be happy, jeden. Let us all sing together. Laugh with me.
Hang on.
Okay.
Roberta van Jerusalem wil ken.
Okay. Who is Roberta?
Roberta?
Okay. Lacht mit mir, singt mit mir, soll die Lieder weitergehen. Laugh with me. Oh, I can't see this. Laugh with me. Hold on. Sing with me. Let the songs reach out.
Okay. Das ist sehr wenig. Red ein bisschen weiter, Roberta.
Okay. Lacht mit mir, singt mit mir, soll die ganze Welt sich freut. Lach mit mir, singt mit mir, alle da sind. Weil Doktorin heißen Lachen, Lachen ist gesund. Laugh with me, sing with me, let the whole world rejoice. Laugh with me, sing with me, all together now, because doctors recommend laughter. Laughter is the best medicine.
Oh, that's it. Now can we have the song, please?
La
Wasn't that fabulous? And all our stars were there for you to see. Now let's get the words of the next song. And here we're going to need some help because Jason was getting down the words and he was having difficulty on the previous one. He couldn't quite get some of the words he thought, but I think we did cover it all, Veronica.
Not completely, but enough.
Okay, but yeah, this one is easy.
Ask me, I could have finished it for you, but anyway.
Okay.
Now we need readers. Zmira, du bist da? Zmira. Es ist schon spät, als efsche Zmira schon nicht da. Zmira?
Backen die Kitkes behind.
Ja. Sie macht. Okay, here you are, Zmira. Can you read the first verse for us of Ich Sing?
Let me try. Shlomo HaMelech hat zu sein Shulames gesungen a Liebesschir. Und Punkt wie Shlomo, den Geliebter meiner, bring ich mein Lied. I can't read that word. Something. It's to dir.
Yeah. Okay. Of English.
King Solomon to his Shulamit sang a love song. And just like Solomon then, my love, I bring my song now to you.
Okay. Und wir dürfen noch eine zu lernen.
Richard, maybe my brother. Richard, are you there still in Sydney? Or you going back to sleep?
No, it's in the middle of the afternoon.
Okay.
You might have gone to eat.
Okay, wer will noch? Come on, we need volunteers. Schämt sich nicht. Just say you'll do it. Right. Benny, who is Benny Kringle? Okay, Dave. So.
Okay, Dave.
Ich sing für dir mein Shir HaShirim. Mit Liebe ich bazirim. Für dir nur Neshome mein, ich sing für dir meine Chaloimes. I sing my song of songs to you, with love I adorn it. Only for you, soul of mine, do I sing my dreams.
Dank. Noch ein Volunteer.
Charlene, are you there? Mein Cousine von Johannesburg, mein grüne Cousine. Charlotte, are you there? Maybe she doesn't want to be singing. Who does want to say a few words? Someone from our group.
Is Hilda here? Hilda is the singer. Hilda, would you like to sing the verse?
Janice Block is putting her hand up. Janice?
Janice, that is good. Janice?
I'll say what number are we on? Which verse?
Okay, Robbie, the third one.
Von meiner Liebe, wie trennen sich von der what's it? Reckensinken durch den, sorry, it's not clear.
Beliebter
mind. My love for you is like a dream, only for you, my comfort. When I'm about to die from longing for you, my beloved.
Okay, Robbie, sing the last one.
Robin?
The Yiddish is a bit blurred, sorry.
Robin?
Okay. Robin?
Robbie, sing the last.
Robin, unmute yourself. Robin, you're muted. Robin, unmute yourself. There we go.
Und wenn ich halt ein Denken, als du wirst noch einmal meine sein. Ich sing von Herzen meine Lieder, mein Shir HaShirim weiter. Geliebter verehr ich sing.
Okay.
And when I still think that you will once again be mine, I sing my song from the heart, my song of songs again, beloved, for you I sing.
And we will now do the song. And you'll see that was the finale at Ort Azey, which was the finale of the Yiddish Song Festival in Cape Town as well. It's a Molly Picon song.
Schleime Hammelech hat zu sein Schulam. Es singen a Liebeslied und Punkt wie Schleim und angeliebter meiner bring ich mein Liedis zu dir. Ich sing Adir Ashir Hashir mein lieber Asir Adir Nane Schonerei Ich sing Adir
Well, wasn't it quite a fantastic ending? I hope we'll continue to sing and we'll be able to celebrate again and again and again up Gute Joren and on celebrations. And as I said before, it's a virtual birthday cake that we're celebrating together, but individually we all have our cakes. I've been gnashing at a cheesecake. And I want to just tell you a very short little story that my mother used to bake wonderful cheesecakes. And when my cousin was going out with his fiance at that time and came to my mother, she said when she tasted the cheesecake, she realized that was the family she needed to marry into. And she was a cook of great note. And she asked my mother for the recipe. My mother said, she doesn't know, she just makes it. So she came to my mother and she took down the recipe. So I'm going to make a suggestion. As I said when we sent out the notice, it's our birthday. So the CJSA does deserve presents. If anybody would like to send them a present, what you will also get will be my mother's cheesecake recipe. So I hope that'll be a good excuse for being a little bit generous and being kind, because the CJSA, like every welfare organization, certainly needs arbeidsgeld. So that'd be wonderful if you could. But now just to say thank you for everyone. Veronica, Sybil, Rochel, we know how much work goes into this, and we
Philip,
really do appreciate all of that.
May
So
I
thank you to all
may
of you.
I say
Sybil,
something?
absolutely.
Yes, please. Yeah. Well, I want to take this opportunity of paying tribute to my beginners group. They have been fantastic. They have been so loyal. They have been diligent. They've been asking for notes. They've been keeping files. They've been sending emails. They've been listening to the songs. And they even send apologies when they can't be with us. And they've learned about the breakout rooms. They've got lost. They've come back. They've persevered. And I really want to pay a tribute to them today. And another thing I'd like to say is I think I've had really a part in this whole Yiddish scene insofar as I've been an impresario, a role I never expected to have in my life. But let me just give you a bit of background, if I may, because it's very relevant as far as certain people in this group are concerned. So what I want to say is, I went to shul on a Friday night, like a good Jewish girl, and I was standing next to a friend of mine, Judy Nankin, who comes from Durban, and she said, look, there across, sitting on the other side is my Yiddish teacher, and from Durban. And she told me a little bit about her and that she has presented fundraising efforts, Yiddish evenings. So I said, well, I must meet this woman. So after shul, she introduced me to a person by the name of Rochelle Weiner. And I said, Rochelle, I've heard all about you, and I'm on the fundraising committee of B'nai Zion. Would you do a fundraiser for us? And she said, with pleasure. And so we roped her in. She did one session. It was a sellout. They loved her. So the next year we asked her to come again, which she did, and another session. And in fact, the Southern Suburbs people were so upset that they were couldn't come in the evening. So we had a Musenberg session, and it was also a sellout. And then, having done a few for B'nai Zion, I said, you know, I think the next time you come, you should do it for the Cape Seniors. And that's how I introduced Rochelle Weiner to the Cape Seniors, and the rest is history. But talking about history, if I may give you a bit of my history, because it's relevant to what I'm saying. So I was born in Johannesburg, and unlike most people, my parents, who came from Lithuania and Latvia, my mother came from Latvia, my father from Lithuania, they spoke Yiddish in the home, so I heard it. But my mother was a Yiddishist, a love of Yiddish, and she didn't want us not to understand her. She really wanted us to understand her. So she sent us to Yiddish Volksschule in Johannesburg, my sister and I, where the nursery school we learned to sing songs and to play plays. And afterwards, we went to the afternoon school. We learned to read and write Yiddish with the Yiddish books. Then in my class was a girl by the name of Rochela Rothschild. Now, I imagined her to be a very, very, very wealthy girl, because my mom said whenever I asked for something that she could not afford to give me, she says, meinst du, ich bin Rothschild? So I knew being a Rothschild meant you were very, very wealthy. Little did I know that that Rochela Rothschild was in actual fact Rochelle Weiner. So we met up again after all those years, and I thought I'd like everybody to know about our association and how life has brought us back together in Yiddish, in the love of the Yiddish language. So just to let you know, just as an aside, Yiddish actually was alive and well throughout the years in Cape Town, which a lot of people don't know about. There were classes at UCT where I was roped in as a teacher of beginners, but the big luminaries were Clara Gesholowitz, Loza Karabelnik, Lillian Dubb, and I really want to pay tribute to those luminaries who put Yiddish on the map in Cape Town in the 80s. We stopped going to the university when there was unrest, but then classes started up again at the Union of Jewish Women. Lillian Dubb and myself and my friend Libby Reichman and Faye Singer. And when poor Lillian passed away and Libby immigrated, that left me, and I got involved and also got Jack. When Jack and I met at the Holocaust Center one day, he said he didn't have material. He wanted to teach Yiddish. I had tons of material. So that set Jack on his path. So there was a lot going on in Yiddish throughout the ages. So well, you know what I mean, throughout the years. And I've also run classes at home, but really we all love to be together. And I want to welcome my visitor from Lithuania, the cousins that I discovered recently living in Kovna. I know Ella was on earlier on, and I'm sure she's still there, but welcome, Ella. And thank you all, Philip, and the whole CJSA crew for what you do for us in Cape Town. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sybil. Folks, I know that Hilda had a little story, and if anybody else, Hilda, would you like to tell your story? And if anybody else puts up their hand, we'll try and get to you as we have a little bit of a schmooze. And in case everyone doesn't realize, there's also a stumm button called mute. So, but please unmute yourself if you want to say something and wave your hand. Hilda, what is the little story that you
Okay, I want to tell a story I just thought of. My grandfather, that is my mother's father, came to Cape Town from Ritava in 2003, and he was married to my granny, whom unfortunately passed away before I was born. But she remained there because he was going out first, you know. And then he got very impatient that she wasn't coming. So he wrote her a letter and he said, Hilda, his name was Hilda, if you don't come, I'm living in Cape Town now, but if you don't come within the next month, I'm going to move to Woodstock and you will never find me.
By the way, you just got your dates wrong. It couldn't be 2003. I think what?
1903.
1903. Yeah.
Does anybody else have a story to tell?
Philip, you had some names from Veronica of people who did want to talk. I think Selwyn wanted to ask a question. He wanted to talk to you, Philip. Selwyn Furman.
Hello, Selwyn. Yes, sorry. Selwyn, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, yeah. I wanted to speak to Mr. Lederman.
There he is, standing here.
Can you hear me, Mr. Lederman?
He's nodding his head.
I can hear you.
70 years ago, I had a Hebrew teacher in Weinberg, and his name was Lederman.
That's right.
Are you in relation? Is your father?
That was my father, yes, that's correct.
I asked the same question. I asked Granny also.
Yes.
Okay,
and we know each other as well, Stan. I didn't realize that.
I'll tell you a little story. I was quite a good Hebrew scholar, but I was a naughty boy. And I got the prize of a Haggadah from Mr. Lederman from the shul. And on it, in Hebrew, it said, conduct excellent. But Mr. Lederman crossed it out and it said, conduct not so good.
Honesty prevailed.
But I remember you when you were a little boy.
Yes, that's right.
That was in 1951 was my first bar mitzvah, and I did my second bar mitzvah on July the 25th at home in the Zoom to do my portion for the first time after my bar mitzvah. But
I remember your name well, and Adele, I remember you as Silberwitz. I do remember that.
Thank you. Yes, we wrote a private.
Anyway, have a good trip to Israel on Aliyah.
Thank you so much. I really
thank you, Philip, for allowing me to talk.
No, of course, that was a lovely. And it also was helpful because I didn't understand that we were from the shtetl von Weinberg.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Veronica, who did you have that wanted to talk? Veronica, sorry, you mentioned people. Can't hear you, Veronica. Unmute yourself.
I can't remember other people.
they must
Laura,
Dave.
I actually sent in something, but maybe it would be of interest. My grandfather came from Dvinsk, which is now Daugenpils. That was Latvia. And he came first, and like so many others, brought his family out later, and they lived in District 6. And there's a book at the Gitlin Library, which Veronica, you have something to do with, called The Jews of District 6. And there's a photograph of the whole family, my Zayda, Bobba, and their 4 daughters, and my father. And the story goes that when the mail ships arrived in Cape Town, my Bobba would go to the harbor and shout, "There is von Dvinsk." And if there were, she would take them home, give them a meal, help to find accommodation, and set them up in the new world. Thank you.
It's a beautiful story, Dave. Thank you.
And Dave just mentioned Southwest Africa. This is wichtig. Did you have much Yiddish or not, or
well,
Dutch?
Yeah, my dad eventually became a commercial traveler and worked for Stadtwitz, and they said, not Stadtwitz, Mosentals, and they sent him as a traveler to Namibia in 1920. And that's where he remained and established a business. We had a thriving Jewish community, 120 families at one stage with a Rov and a rabbi. And yeah, we had a wonderful life growing up in Windhoek. And it was a happy place.
Is anybody else that wants to say something?
Yes.
May I say a few words,
Ruth,
please? My parents came from Ritava, my mother from Vilna, my father from Kovna. They arrived in South Africa in 1927 when my brother Abe Pass, was 1 year old. And Yiddish was my mama Loshen. No one ever spoke English or Afrikaans or anything else in our home, only Yiddish, until I was 6 years old and started school. And so I just love hearing Yiddish being spoken, and so much enjoyed the Otazeys that we've celebrated, and also Rita Wagenheim's classes in Weinberg, the Weinberg CJSA. Unfortunately, we've not been able to get together, but I really enjoy hearing Yiddish spoken. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I just want to say to Ruth that I knew your brother, Abe Pass.
Yes. He also loved Yiddish. Absolutely. I could consult with him. If I couldn't find a word when I was trying to do my homework for Rita, I couldn't, my dictionary didn't have the word, I would phone him and he knew a lot of Yiddish.
See what's on the other pages.
Anybody else? Otherwise we must.
Who's Rona B?
Muriel's putting up her hand. Muriel.
Just 1 second, Veronica. Muriel and then Roberto, and then we must start closing down.
Who's Rona? Rona B has looked there. Rona B.
First of all, so Muriel, Roberta and Rona. Muriel?
Okay. Short and sweet. I'm thoroughly enjoying all the Yiddish classes, and kol hakavod to CJSA, Philip, Veronica, Rochel, and Sybil. And I cannot understand why, out of the blues, at the age that I am, that I'm suddenly able to speak Yiddish. And chatting to Sybil about it, I worked it out. Having grown up in the Platteland in Gauteng, I sat down and sent off my little blurb to CJSA, and when Amanda sent back and said how interesting, I then realized that I was at boarding school, but the whole, I don't know who knows the Transvaal, Urgis, Leslie, Kinross, Witbank, Delmas, Kinross, were about 20 Jewish families. I can quickly rattle them off. Snipperlisky, Sandler, Katz, Dufkin, Dorfin, ourselves, Broido, Snipperliski, Luntz, does it ring a note with anybody? You couldn't find another farmer except Jewish farmers, and that doesn't even take into consideration as far afield as Bethel and Ermelo, where there were even more families of Yidden. Unfortunately, it's the new today. I think there's one family left in Leslie, and that's where it comes from.
Thank you, Muriel. And then Roberta. Unmute yourself, Roberta.
I don't know if she's gone.
Roberta, no, Roberta's there, but you must unmute yourself. Yeah.
Ah,
We can't hear you, Roberta. You must unmute yourself. Roberta, please unmute yourself.
No, okay, I'm sorry. I can't see myself, but I don't know, somehow I've lost you. But okay, I can talk. So, firstly, I would like to thank you all for including me in this amazing get-together once a week. It's so Hamish and nostalgic, and I really appreciate it. I love Yiddish, I breathe Yiddish, and I don't have many opportunities to speak it these days, unfortunately, especially where I live. So for me, I really look forward now to joining you every Friday. Now, I'd like to add something small in connection with Jaime, where he spoke about how the names got changed. I don't know if you're all familiar with the Ferguson joke that came out of Ellis Island in America when these Jews arrived and they couldn't speak English. So apparently they were asked their surnames, and this guy said, "Ich hab vergessen," and he became Ferguson. But I also have a personal story, also from Ellis Island. My grandfather's siblings, they came from Kovna, all went to America. And their surname was Rutschkin, okay? The brother, when he arrived, somehow became Morse. You couldn't have a more Yokish name, M-O-R-S-E. Why? Because they obviously asked him the same story. What's your name? And he didn't know. So his father's name was Moshe or Moish. So he became Morse. And that's still to this day. And I've tried to trace them, but don't look for Morse in America. It's like looking for a needle in the haystack. So there we are.
Thank you very much, Roberta.
Regine is back. Regine is back.
Okay, thank you all again, and a good Shabbos.
Sorry, I just saw Cedric Ginsburg. I went to the other page. Cedric, Bruchim Habaim, welcome. Baruch haba, du bist da. Unmute yourself. I just want to hear a little bit. Cedric does a reading group in Johannesburg every week.
From Zitz. Hello, Cedric, are you there?
Ich bin da.
Oh, Azey.
Ja, wir haben eine Laiengruppe. Wir kommen zusammen jeden Montag bei Nacht. Und jetzt in die Zeiten kommen wir zusammen auf Zoom, nicht persönlich. Aber wir lernen einen Text jeden Woche. Wir haben 6, 7 Menschen, was kommen zusammen. Und es ist ein Vergnügen. Wir sind 15 Jahre alt. Wir haben ungeheben mit 15 Jahren zurück. Und wir kommen zusammen jeden Woche Montag bei Nacht.
Thank you very much. Grayson, thanks, Cedric. And there was somebody else that Elena wants to
do you want to talk?
Philip?
Yes. Hey, my landsman.
Yeah.
Regina wanted to talk. She's back on now.
Okay, can we first do Regina, then we'll come to you, Anne.
Okay.
Regina, where are you? Just unmute yourself. Regina, if you could unmute yourself. Azey, I can see you. Excellent.
Hello.
Hello.
bin koidem gewesen ein bisschen weiß auf mir allein, weil ich gut nicht mehr gehört, nur gesehen, sie gewesen fertig. Bin ich zurück. Nach einem Mal, mein Mann ist zurückgekommen in die Stieb, hat alles gemacht, wir so wartet in der Sonne. Koidem, Aschkoyer, für den Geburtstag, für den wörtlichen Datum, für den 40. Geburtstag. Apure Werte. Ich bin gewesen letztens in Israel, sehr mal einig, das ist nicht die Sache. Bin nach zurückgegeben in Avion mit einer ganz großen Gruppe fremde chassidische Jiden. Sie haben mich ein bisschen gesteht, aber sie gerät Jiddisch. Sind sie gewesen anstand, als eine Frau, eine Blonde mit ein paar Häusen, wo sie nicht gekleidet, also wie sei, kann vieles reden, und noch mehr, sie redet Jiddisch und sie kommt von Brüssel. Das ist eine Sache. Die zweite Sache ist also, ich bin geboren in Brüssel, die Eltern haben gestammt von Polen, in die Stiebe geworden, gerät nur Jiddisch. Die Tate ist zurückgekommen noch 5 Jahre Lage, ich hoffe, jeder versteht, und nicht kann ich vertatschen, auf Englisch, wo es absolut nicht mal luschen, wo ich habe gelernt, amul in der Schule, nur wo es redet, ich verstehe, sehr gut auch. Die Mama ist gekommen von früher, wie die Merchume nach Belgien, und sie gekommen zu treffen, ihre Brüder, wo sie schon gehabt haben, Spuren, und wo sie hat geflüchtet von Polen nach Belgien. Sie hatten gesehen, sie haben sich getroffen, nur geworden, wenn sie geflüchtet nach Frankreich, in dem Merchume, ist die ganze Mischbuche geworden, ist gestorben, weil sie haben gekriegt ein Stückel, was man berief, ein Stückel von einer Bombe, Schrapnell. Außerdem, man redet Jiddisch, ältere Menschen reden noch Jiddisch in Brüssel. Das will sagen, als Menschen bestehen dem Jiddisch, weil die Älteren haben geredet, die Kinder sollen nicht bestehen, also wie in der ganzen Welt haben sie geredet zwischen sich und den Kindern, haben sie gestanden. Ich halte auch einen Tisch, 2 Mal heute auf Jiddisch. Ich habe gehalten den Tisch bis jetzt, letzte Gedusche, lassen wir sagen, oder Zoom, noch einmal so. Anders hat man sich eine Versammlung, 2 Mal heute, wo es dort ungefähr 1,5, 2 Schuhe, alle zusammen. Ich habe auch ein jiddisches Programm auf der Radio, wo ich stelle allein darauf, das will sagen, ich lein sehr schwer Jiddisch, wusste ich lein etwas auf oder Französisch oder ein bisschen mehr schwer auf Englisch. In Vertage zu Transliteration heißt es auf Jiddisch. Ich gebe doch daraus jiddische Lieder, jiddische Musik, Klezmer, wo soll ich sagen, Jigan Schumacher, Amachai. Was will man noch wissen?
Okay, danke. Noch einmal, another class, we want to hear more. Is there anybody else? Because I've got to watch the time. It's 11:45. Ich darf gehen backen mein Kids.
Yeah, I think Abe wanted to speak. Did Abe want to speak? Abe, unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Philip, I just want to thank all the teachers, the people involved in this organization doing such a great work. But I must also thank my wife that Diana, you must correct me, it was Lena who spoke to Diana and said, no, what about a Jewish class?
No, he's got it a little bit wrong. Diana said to us, yes, at the beginning of COVID, when this all started, she said, what do you want? And I said more Yiddish, and that's where it started.
Okay, but so these Yiddish classes continued virtually, and look what we've done today. So thank you, Abe, thank you, Lena, and thank you.
It's a great pleasure.
For being
I'm
with us
not
today.
looking for COVID, but I must say something that she was involved in it.
Absolutely.
And to you, Philip,
Abe, you've got special privileges anyway because you're my landsman. Okay, we've got to say goodbye now because everyone's got seriously, the team from CJSA have got to start delivering Shabbos meals.
Yeah,
so
okay.
People, seien wir alle gesund und stark. Ein großer Dank für everything.
Philip, anybody who didn't speak, we will remember you in our class, and please don't think you've been overlooked. As
No,
Philip
you'll come back, but Rochel, without it by rebel, we can benevolent. So it's not we will talk about it another time. But thank you all for being together, and sei mit alle gesund und stark. That's all that
Richard, I want to say good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos to everybody. And Monique, you can get say goodbye to everybody. Or is Stacy in charge? Stacy or Monique?
I will get it.
I think Stacy will end the group.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're well and strong.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.